Alright, so this is a viewer submission like many of the things that we play on this stream. Shyvana got a little bit of a buff ski poo. 4-4 for 4 now as opposed to 3-4 for 4. Gets slightly bigger when she attacks, and she levels when she's seen dragon allies deal 12 plus damage, which notably includes herself. So this extra attack means that she's helping level herself a little bit quicker. Her leveled mode gains Fury and gets even bigger every time she attacks. And every time she attacks when leveled, she creates a fleeting strafing strike. So this is kind of like a single combat plus for your dragons. And notably, not only does this heal an ally too, but when you combine this with Shyvana's +2/+2 on attack here, it's basically like getting 4 free health each turn to fight something with, because you get 2 temporary from this, and you get 2 heal from the fleeting strafing strike. So I feel like this card felt really close to competitive before the buff, and getting that little bit extra attack on defense, notably dodging Culling Strike, like, this is a good improvement. Now, this is a viewer submission, so I'm not 100% convinced that Kat is necessarily a great pairing here. She's a champion that I was honestly kind of surprised she didn't get a little bit of a buff in the most recent patch. So she's a 3-2 with quick attack. Then when you play her, she creates a fleeting Blade's Edge. Just gives you an extra deal 1 to anything. She has quick attack, so she hits first, which is very useful with her other ability here. It says, when I've struck once, level and recall me, which bounces her back to your hand. And then her leveled mode rallies when you play her out, so gives you additional attack steps. So this does, while being a little bit expensive at 4 mana, this does synergize with Shyvana, right? Like, Shyvana rewards you for attacking, and Katarina lets us attack more often. So there is some synergy with Shyvana here, which is nice. I also, noting on 3 Katarinas here, I also think Death Lotus is a card that's just very close to playable on its own right now, so getting it as a champion spell is nothing to scoff at. I think this card is super, super reasonable against the discard aggro decks. I've seen people actually just playing this card generically in their decks a little bit. The rest of this deck is kind of a low curve, primarily Demacia aggressive deck, so we've got Sithra Cloud Field, Fleet Feather Tracker, Protector, Lieutenant, Egghead Research at the bottom end of our curve. We've got Sharp Sight, which is probably one of the better combat tricks in the game right now. 2-2 for 2 at burst speed is quite good. We've got Glory Seeker as another reasonable 2-drop to help us control the board. So this is a very mid-range board-centric deck. We've got both Lieutenant and Glory Seeker to help us keep the board in check. At the top end of our curve, we've got Screeching Dragon as an extra way to help level Shyvana. We've got some Katos here as a way to push extra damage and help Shyvana level quickly as well. And then we've got a cheeky Captain Pharaon all the way at the top of the curve to really close games out. To quote the Pharaon, he will end this. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games here with this and see how it feels. Thanks, Pentron. Yeah, it's great. It's great to have acknowledgement from the company that makes the game that I enjoy playing, and one that supports my content and acknowledges that it's reasonable and helpful for them. Okay, I think this matchup is pretty challenging for our archetype. Notably, this is a Frostbite centric deck, and our deck is very combat focused. Even our single combats and stuff like that depend on our units having attack to deal with our opponent's stuff. So I would bet this is going to be a tough one for us. Sithra is actually a fantastic draw here. Only draw that would have been better than this is Fleet Feather Tracker. Really happy to have a play on one here. And honestly, with the Omen Hawk here on one, I'd rather have Sithra, right? Shyvana here counts as a dragon. So I get to play Lieutenant, and he'll gain Challenger. Or do I play Egghead Researcher? I'm gonna play Lieutenant. And then next turn, we can play Brightsteel Protector, give this a barrier, and get in and hook something, which is nice. So, Ezreal, people comparing Ezreal and saying better or worse, I think you've missed the point on his change. And this is one of the things I love about Runeterra and the way they can rebalance cards slightly is Ezreal's just different than he was before. So he's definitely strictly worse if you're looking for a combo-centric champion, but his design now is very good as a mid-range control champion that helps you manage the board. Yeah, it's basically a different card now. It's a different card in a way that I think is very good. All right, I'm going to offer a trade on these here. This lets them draw a card, but I think I'm fine with that. It means they won't get to trade with this later, which is ideal. Lacy Dog, thank you for the half of your support. I appreciate that. Welcome back.
Light the signal fires.
So we're going to play Shyvana out here, and then the next turn we'll probably go Glory Seeker into Brightsteel.
The fight just isn't the same without you, Anna.
I am always here when you need me.
And see, I actually think narrows the scope is the opposite, Lucos. I think it opens it up and makes him a lot more flexible.
I need just a moment.
Up there in the mountains!
My shield is yours. Break them. You're mine.
I think we just get aggressive here. They could Frostbite this, but that's fine. It's a shame this is bigger from Omen Hawk, so these can't trade. I definitely think I want to pressure them and try and keep the board in check here. Really hoping to dodge a Brittle Steel here. Troll Chant. Could be worse. It's not terrible. So I have 8 mana total here. I'm gonna go ahead and play AK Researcher and see what we get. Gives us a random dragon.
I'm standing right here, friend.
Bad.
Look, out there!
Shield up. No closer.
Not the egg.
You'd be wrong to chump block here.
I am more than I seem.
You are unlike anything I've ever seen. Your kind will answer for Renwall.
So next turn they do have Sejani mana. Worth noting. Gosh, is this just an open attacks turn? I think it's just an open attacks turn.
Face me.
They probably have something to stay alive here, but this feels good. Well, and this is why the chump block might be wrong. Like I'd be getting in another hit for 1 here if I hadn't chumped. And like this would still be dying.
A true Freljordian welcome.
I kind of want to play this with Nightfall, huh? I'm pretty sure. Right? Are we on that plan? I think I want to play this out for the turn. And then hopefully they play an Ash here, and then I can Concerted Strike and kill her.
No remorse.
gonna pass here. So next turn we can go Shyvana into Concerted Strike here, which is great.
The frail lord.
You must have some unique insight into dragons.
Most are cruel, vicious, and deadly.
Don't let them through!
How do we feel about using Strike on Ash so we have open attacks next turn? I think I like it. If they have Harsh Winds here, I'd rather get Harsh Winds out of their hand this turn than next turn. They're pretty low on life total.
The time is right. Strike now.
Sure. Yeah. As you will. Ha! So now we just go Glory Seeker into this, then we have Starsight up here too as well.
Only the finest serve.
Yeah, definitely, Claire. Discord doesn't care what kind of sub you are. Not at all. Bye, friend. Ha! Alright, worked out pretty well.
Victory for John.
So really got to see our board control there come into effect there. Those barriers with the challenger units especially key that game in the early turns to helping us get ahead and stay ahead. I'm mulligan these two, looking for 3s and 4s. I don't know that having this many tiny things is actually good in this matchup.
I'll write my own story.
Much like Vlad, Cat's decks are better when you never draw her. It's funny because it's sad.
New recruit reporting in. Real battle.
I'm gonna get like Guiding Touched here. I think that's fine though. Pale Cascaded or whatever. It's a card that's gonna do something at some point anyways. Might as well make it do its thing sooner rather than later. Yeah, Bleak Feather Tracker is great.
You're all so cute.
I'm something of an aspiring trichologist.
And now this is a Dargon for the Lieutenant here,
Star
which is
anywhere.
great.
Lieutenant,
This is actually really good against Genj.
we let you keep the egg. Be content with that.
We let you keep the egg, be content with that. See if they have another heal for the Crusty Cadre here.
We're all family here.
I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm holding these to protect my bigger threats more.
So soon.
Howdy, Anorak. And Thorax, good evening.
So much about stars, Soraka. Well,
For silver I talk, for gold I hasten.
Who do I have to pay to get Egghead to draw dragons that aren't 9 drops? Everyone!
Pablo's been down, but his knee out!
I told your ancestors to protect.
A good resource to help new players starting out. Yeah, the video from the professor here is a great place to start. As well as just playing the in-game tutorials. They have a ranking system. They do. Not only do they have a ranking system, but we're actually just talking about it on stream a little bit ago. You can open with this patch, you can open the leaderboard in client now and copy deck lists in the client directly from players who are doing well on the leaderboard. Really, really slick integration. We're 1 mana off of Fair on here still. That's a good one. So we got 2 ways to fight here.
Goodness in you, River King.
Hope only provides temporary sustenance, child.
Hoping to dodge second Pale Cascade here. Or to be third at this point. Okay. Well, those will all go away. Honestly, Stiggy, the in-game tutorial for Runeterra is better than any tutorial in basically any game I've ever played. I would really recommend just, like, installing it on your PC or your mobile device and just playing through it. It's really well done. And then I'll end this here making 3 deal 4s being an aptly named. So this has Overwhelm here, which means their chump blockers are not particularly good.
I must inspire where once I shepherded.
Right, that's my job. Shepherding, I mean.
So this gives the thing he supports 3 extra attacks. This has 11 Overwhelm right now. Do they have a Hush is the question here. If they have a Hush to wipe the Overwhelm off of this, they could be okay. If they don't have a Hush to wipe off Overwhelm, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. This block would imply they do not have a Hush.
Stars.
Yeah, maybe 1 large egg. That probably does work out better, yeah. Decks and archetypes and stuff. Yeah, if you're looking just for, like, deck list to get started, definitely want to check out my website. Has deck lists on it. You can get deck lists from top players right in client off the leaderboard now. And you can also get deck lists on Mobalytics as well. Has a top meta decks page. Alright, well, we've yet to see Katarina, but so far the Shyvana Dragons part of this deck is still very reasonable. Boo Shoes coming in hot with the 22 months of Prime support. I really appreciate that. Welcome back. You literally submitted a game that was a bootlegged, modified copy of an actual video game called that, like, didn't have a real download link, because if they put a real download link up, the person would get prosecuted for putting it up. So I didn't respond to your submission of a bootleg game for that reason.
You're covered.
Am I okay trading these? I feel like I am. I feel like I just want to... They're playing Girl Scouts. I think I'd rather just keep their board in check as much as possible here. We'll just play these out and trade them off. think improving it significantly is a strong word, but I mean, it's definitely a strict improvement.
Dragons, such fascinating creatures.
Yeah, you can find a full patch notes review video on my YouTube channel.
No hay.
What a specimen.
Free damage, free damage.
I'm actually here.
YouTube is having issues right now, globally. That's good to know.
Here we go. Not the egg.
Not the egg.
Love ya.
I think I'm just taking 4 this time through. Is it crazy to just end the round here? That's gotta be crazy, right? They could have, like, riposte or something here. Really wanted the fact that I haven't drawn any single combats or concerted strikes this game has been rough. Yeah, the tough part is if they play out a scout unit this turn, they could level Misfortune is the issue.
All hands on deck!
Okay, that means they won't have a scout unit this turn, so that's great. I can play out Cat, who gives me a fleeting blade strike to kill this 3/1. Hey, Stiggy, thank you for the 22 months of Prime support. I really appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around.
I'm ready.
Is there any merit to discussing whether or not players should be able to opt out of having their deck show on the leaderboard? If you're some kind of whiny crybaby, sure.
This might hurt.
Katarina's actually looking real good here, huh?
They are nothing.
She's gonna bounce back to her hand, and then we're gonna get to rally with her this turn. Man! Feels bad, man. Stand United is brutal. It means I can't kill her this turn inside of combat either. Yeah, that is not a card people typically play in their deck. Very good there, good piece of technology.
Solves everything. My shield is yours.
Okay, and now rallying this turn isn't particularly good, right?
Who gets tossed?
Everyone. Oh, it was randomly generated. Wow, that's really bad, Beach. You're right. That was off the Mage Seeker. Do I want to play this out, or do I want to hold mana for Sharp Sight next turn? I think I want to hold mana for Sharp Sight. I want to be able to rally with Katarina twice in Sharp Sight. I think that's better than playing this. Single combat, also great.
With me.
Man, we just got brutalized this game. Everything that couldn't go our way just did not go our way.
Hesitate.
I give you muscles.
We might kill them with these. Depending on how they block here, they might die to these.
Shield up.
It's very greedy block on their part. Got him.
There are none like me.
My duty.
Dragons have no remorse.
Dragons have no remorse. Oh, hey, it says platinum in words at the top of the thing now to tell you what rank you're in case you're colorblind or just can't tell them apart. That's nice. Hey, Beck, thank you for the biddies, and thanks for sending in a best of 3 lineup. Sweet, that's our second of 3 best of 3 lineups I will be taking, so... Feedback on Twitter said people want to see more best of 3 gauntlets, so I'm planning to do 4 of them, my 1 for the week, and then 3 viewer submissions. So I've got 1 more to fill in this week, and then next week's gauntlet will also be, so I'm going to take up to 4 more best of 3 gauntlet submissions from folks. If you have them, they're the same price as a normal deck submission, $25 or 2,500 bits. Yeah, and like I said, the people talking about liking best of 3 and hoping it sticks around, make sure you play these gauntlets. Make sure you give them feedback that you love that these gauntlets are here. I'm sure they're going to be looking at those metrics to dictate what their play modes are. Alright, so Kato's definitely getting mulliganed here. I think I keep Fleet Feather Tracker, huh? It's one of my cheap stuff. Oh, that reminds me. Channel points. We had our 6th Shillionaire get added to the channel. So trickle down Shillonomics dictate that our next Shillionaire only has to pay 999,994 shillings.
I'll write my own story.
What a deal. All the existing Shillionaires, they make it easier for you little people. For all you temporarily embarrassed Shillionaires out there, they're helping you out. Oh, Dark Rider, if you're in the Discord, by the way, don't forget to DM me, and we have a special role in there for Shillionaires. That comes with its own private channel, Beverly Shills. And if you're wondering what goes on in Beverly Shills and Hoaglandia, it's where you want to be.
Dragons, such fascinating creatures.
Ooh. Hey, Majora, thank you for the Prime support. I really appreciate that. Welcome back. Hope you're staying safe out there. Good to have you back again. I recommend a deck for a new Runeterra player. I've got a number of decks for new Runeterra players, depending on what type of archetype you like to play. So my website has a Runeterra decks page on it that has a bunch of great selections up there. Her champ spell is Grant Challenger or something. You can also check out Mobilytics for ranked deck lists up there based on meta stuff. My Runeterra deck page on my website is stuff that's reasonably competitive, but also kind of off meta. If you want stock tier 1, tier 2 decks, definitely check out Mobilytics. Something I want to remember to plug a couple of times tonight, by the way, if you're a current subscriber to the channel, even if you just subbed tonight, make sure you pop at the subs Discord and fill out my sub survey. It just asks kind of a couple of generic questions about the direction of my content, what you're subbing to support, stuff like that. But to make sure the stuff I make and how I structure it lines up with the folks that pay my bills, what they would like. Yeah, no worries, Dark Rider. There's no rush. Whenever you get around to it.
I stand for Noxus.
I gotta work with this Joker.
This Joker. We play Shyvana out here. The Discord gives you a 3-day grace period after your sub lapses.
Blood glory.
So, do I want to kill crowd favorite or do I want to kill Draven? If I kill Draven, I get to get 6 points of damage on this, but I have to take 6 on the backswing.
Lively soldier.
I don't think that's strictly true, Strevis. One of the things that's great about Runeterra is all of the decks that like were competitive pre-patch are very likely to still be competitive post-patch. So like some of the like letters will move around because they balance adjusted some cards, but everything that's up there as S and A is still going to be competitive. How similar is Runeterra feel to Magic, more so in the aspects of keywords and the stack? I really feel like Riot did a great job of making the stack still be interactable in a lot of ways and have back and forth to it with fast and slow spells being respondable, but not being cumbersome with things like combat tricks being burst speed for the most part. I feel like they hit a really good middle of the ground sweet spot. Yes, and if you're a sub that is looking for it on the Discord server, like I just mentioned, check the announcement section. It'll be in there. Huh. So, if I play this, I can level Shyvana this turn, which seems great.
You and I have met before, haven't we?
So here's his picture. Here's the Screeching Dragon.
The sun brought
You haven't. I have. That's the first time I've heard that voice line, and gosh, is that voice line good. You and I have met before, haven't we? I had not experienced that detail. The sound design in this game is wonderful. Yeah, so effectively everything in Runeterra has haste, but at the same time, sorceries also don't exist in this game, which is important to note too. So like, both players are playing every single turn, which means your sweepers also kind of have instant speed, which is important to acknowledge.
I stand for Noxus.
Jinx stands for Jinx. Durr.
Stands for Jinx. Durr.
Lieutenant, have you brought a specimen from the field? We let you keep the egg. Be content with that.
Yes, yeah, there's never a point where your opponent can play a new... Well, I guess that's not Asterisk, there's the Wraith cards, right? Alright, so I think we're chumping here, and we're shaping here. And then we're going to take 2 altogether, 1 on the Overwhelm from this and 1 on the Elusive from this. There's a very small number of spells, burst spells, that make critters. It's exactly rigging and the other one. There's 2 right now. This one, whatever makes this, jury rig, not rigging, jury rig.
I need just a moment.
We've got a very challenging board state here. Flame Chompers is a kinda, yeah. Alright, so...
I'll cut them apart. You're mine. Face me.
So these have Challenger, so I can force their things to block here. I think I do this. And then she's gonna level. She's gonna give herself +1/+1 when she attacks, so even if they block with the 2-power thing, she's gonna survive. I mean, I could give Challenger here, but there's not really a reason to do that, right? So the deck building restrictions in Runeterra is there's 8 regions currently, and you can only have at most 2 different regions in your deck. And then you can only have 6 total champions in your deck. So generally speaking, competitive decks will play 3 of 2 different champions, but occasionally you'll play like 3-2-1 or 2-2-2 in some edge cases. But generally speaking, it's optimal to be playing 3 and 3. Now the question is this last card another Jinx? If this last card's another Jinx, we're gonna be in some trouble. Mobalytics, the website that has my decks here. Yep.
You're doing it.
Yep.
Just you and me, Fishbones.
Yeah, giving her Challenger there is bad for the reason we just saw here, which is a get excited.
Always.
Hey, because like if I had played that, this is a champion spell, right? So like, if she turned back into Shyvana. Yeah, that's very true, Hex. It was very likely that their last card was a Jinx when they did that instead of not. Get a little dial-up dragon action going on. Yeah, so Jinx, every time they empty their hand, they get a super mega death rocket. So she's gonna blast me here. Are we dead? They're gonna get to hook this. I'll go block, take 3, so I'm gonna be at 3, so we're dead to another rocket. So not dead on board, but dead to a missile next turn. And I notably have to chump Jinx here. I am notably going to get to level Shyvana here, which means if I open on attacks next turn, she generates a fight spell, which can let me kill their Jinx before it makes a missile, hopefully. Yeah, so this is gonna level, and then level Shyvana creates a strafing strike when she attacks, which lets me fight something on their board. So you can attack the turn you play something in this. The 2/2's gonna get stunned. So I drag into the 2/2. There's a reason why I did that. And they have to block here. So if either of these is something they can't empty their hand to get a missile with here, we could be okay. So if this is like a get excited or a rummage, we are gonna die here. So inside of combat, we'll have these 2 fight. Lot of things kill us here, but I think we've died, chat. That was a close game. The emotes this game are really well done. Big agreed.
Everyone goes boom!
That's really close. Yeah, Anna said a couple different ways there. That's fine. They were playing with the cutie modes. It's not a big deal. I mean, like, I emoted first there, chat. Did I? I don't remember. I played into it. So, like, that's fine. It's really not a big deal, I promise. Elise Twisted Fate. I bet this is a Go Hard variation. Which, if they're playing Go Hard, that means this Fleet Feather Tracker is likely very bad because it has 1 toughness and Go Hard deals 1 to something. Gonna keep the Elite here because it's a 2-2.
I'm actually here.
Nothing like the stink of blood and
Get some
sweat.
different tunes in here. If you haven't seen the KDA board before, there's 3 different music tracks you can use by clicking on here with the KDA board.
I'll burn for what I've done.
New recruit reporting in.
The dead don't eat riches.
Pretty solid curve here so far.
I need just a moment.
Yeah, this is probably a bad play against the Go Hard deck.
Where do you stand on cold shots?
Yeah, they're a Twisted Fate deck too. Maybe I should trade these. There's like gonna red card me.
Watch this.
The dragon's rage claws to get out.
Never lost a fair game. Who says I?
Yeah, I think I should have played the Egghead Researcher last turn. This Katarina felt good. It's been less bad than I was expecting it to be so far. We actually haven't drawn her very much.
I am watching you, dragon.
Yeah, based on empirical evidence, she's unbeatable.
Right then.
It's a bit of a challenging turn for the opponent.
Who dares swims?
Evening Volksporodox. Yeah, this one's been a good set so far. This'll probably be our highlighted deck of the day. Got a number of good games with it I can pull out, I think.
I've whipped up something special.
This means a deal 1 gets to kill Shyvana here, but that's whatever. Our Dargon here is nice and big and hanging out.
Win.
I'm sure I'm a father of 3, I can make the dad jokes. All right, Cat. There's a lot of pressure on here now for you. I set you up really high this game. You got to understand. You got to not let the chat fam down. I think we go Bird into Kato here. And then next turn we can Cat into Rally Cat, right? Thanks, Captain Commander. Really appreciate it. One of the questions on the sub survey is actually about the YouTube stuff, asking about the highlights that I started adding. So if they have another Go Hard here, they're gonna blow our board up. Alright.
Where are you, spirit?
I apologize to your parents.
I see it.
Well, I feel like they wouldn't attack there if they had the other go hard, right? So let's just go ahead and play cat, and then we'll get in there. Well, my read was very wrong. Got it. Yikes.
Ask me about dragon. I just may have an answer.
Yeah, they could have drawn it. It's very possible they could have drawn it. Bad one.
You pay. I talk to spirits. These are my rules.
Yep, Crimson.
Nothing to fear.
Lieutenant, have you brought a specimen from the field?
We let you keep the egg. Be content with that.
I will warn you, Crimson, if you're gonna try out Runeterra, playing Runeterra firsthand makes it very difficult to go back to giving Magic Arena your money or your time. Just what it feels like as a player between the two is it's very apparent what the goals are of the different companies making them.
A game.
It's a feature, not a bug. That's true. That's true. It's definitely a feature. Oh yeah, we have a PogChamp emote now.
If I kill you, I don't fortune.
I just choose how they block. Yeah, so this card has a mechanic called Challenger, which lets you drag your opponent's things in to block you. Pretty sure we're blocking here because this has Fury. Like, has to take 1 damage, but it gains 1 attack permanently. And then this also has Scout, so that means we'll get to attack with it, twice next turn. Okay, that's the first go hard. They've got a lot of go hards in their deck now. We need to close this game out. So, the first time you attack, if you attack with only Scout units, you get to attack again that turn, which is nice. Pretty sure I want to deny them a draw 2 here. If they get back to their go hards, we're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Shelly, race ya. Commander Zach, always be ready.
Always be ready!
Much to learn in the field.
You seem like you've got a lot to learn.
Okay, so
Shelly, race ya. Commander
I have to ask myself, do I want to trade 1 point of damage on this to make it an attack bigger? Probably at this point. I basically just want to make this an Abyss. And this is ephemeral, so it's going to die anyway, so it's a free block for them. Sure. The chat command is just exclamation point and then card name, but the bot's missing the KDA card, so it hasn't been updated with them yet. That's not a bad draw. This can get us a big boom boom. I'm planning on competing in any of the official Runeterra turns. Thank you for the quarter of a year, Blake. I appreciate that. Yeah, potentially.
A little time.
Definitely on the table. Not the best pull, but also not the worst. I think the best pull there would have been the Nightfall Dragon. This is very likely drawing them a 3rd go hard, which means if they have a 4th one, they're going to get to nuke our board again, and then we're probably dead. Yeah, Eclipse is definitely our best one. Yep. Twisted Diana's my favorite deck in the game. Is this another Go Hard? We could be dead. Go Hard makes extra copies of itself every time you play it, which is extra scary.
No going back.
It's not a terrible draw. The Dire Consequences coming in hot for the 5th month with that Prime. I really appreciate that. There's a lot of great people you can send that to every single month on Twitch. Thanks for sending it my way this month. Are they dead? Maybe.
This is outrage!
Clear off.
I haven't done the math, but this is going to come back and we're going to get to Rally. I mean, this is still just at 1 though, right? Like, so it doesn't really matter. It's no different than just killing one of these.
They'll never know what killed them.
Thanks, Strevis. I appreciate that. So she comes into play, she rallies and gives us another attack here. We are unfortunately going to be short a little bit of damage here at the end. And they played pick a card this turn, so they're going to get to draw 4 cards next turn. So they have an incredibly likely chance of drawing their deal 5 to everything. She unfortunately costs 4, so I cannot rally again this turn. Blade can hit the Nexus.
Deal me in. Blue as the Serpentine.
Yeah, if we're like the luckiest person on Earth and they don't draw pack your bags here. Yeah. So they were pretty likely to draw this. They had a bunch of them in your deck, so the go hard shuffles 2 copies into their deck. Very cat almost drug us through that game because we can't beat it all. The bishops. The out is that they're incredibly unlucky and they don't have it. Because if they don't have it, we can win the game. What else can I do? What does playing around it look like? Like it deals 5 to me too. So like just cat isn't winning that game. The play to win line there, however small it is hope they don't have it, and then play into it and try and kill them if they didn't pull it. Mono Lucian. We have 2 out of 4 Prime Glories. We missed Prime Glory both the Singleton weeks. Singleton is not quite my cup of tea. Excited that the gauntlets the next 2 weeks are best of 3. I think that's a good change.
I'll write my own story.
Could be Bannerman Lucian. That's a good call. Garen's a Bannerman, right? If they were Bannerman, they'd probably be playing Garen as a second champion. Or am I wrong about that?
There's a chill in the air. Burn away the shadows.
So here's the tough part about Katarina is that she doesn't develop our board on a turn like this, right? Is the tough part.
It's just a nick.
The limited in this game is Phantom Crimson. So you do not keep the cards that you draft.
Violence solves everything.
How we've been doing? It's felt competitive, Maka Art. The Dragon package specifically, the Demacia Dragon package, has felt very reasonable. The jury is out on whether or not this card's actually playable, but the Demacia Dragon package definitely feels decent.
No going back. Quick as the blade.
It might be right, and like honestly, right, like here for example, it might be right to even just not play this card. It might be right to just like bank my spell mana there.
Deal is yours.
What if they have another rally? They have another rally, we're probably dead. I guess I can hook this one. Yeah, I think that's a good summary, Lambton. Katarina has a lot of the same issues that champions like Tarek have, where they're very linear and only do one thing. Worth noting there, if I had banked spell mana, I would have, instead of playing my champion, I would have been able to kill their thing in response there. I'm gonna cut the third Katarina and play another generic champion, I think. I really don't want to draw this card early. I want to draw it late as a finisher, and that's it. Honestly, Garen's probably good for the similar reason. Garen lets us attack on their turn with Shyvana. It might even be right to just play Garen instead of Katarina. For that Garen might just be the better card to fill that role, and then like you don't play Noxus, you play different support. Would not be surprised if that's my wrap up. Yeah, he's also good with concerted strikes and single combats that we're playing already. Is accurate. So the deep here, Bilgewater, Shadow Isles with Maokai and Nautilus, definitely going to keep a 1-2 curve. I'm not sure build around. All deck submissions are $25. We're gonna block here if they attack. I'm gonna have to trade with this at some point anyways.
I need just a moment.
Yeah, Gohard's a very good design. I still think Field Rush is a sweet design too. I know that card's gotten some crap from people, but I think it's super reasonable. The KDA cards in general were great. So I've been thinking about Runeterra's release model a bit, and while I think the 2-month release cycle has been fine, I feel like I would almost rather they do bigger card drops less often and then supplement with small injections via Battle Pass like the KDA if they want more frequent card releases.
I am more than I seem. Break them.
We got a pretty good curve here. To play Kato out. Kato actually levels Shyvana next turn, because she'll go to 5 and he'll put her to 8. Not only is her attacking for 5 good, but her dealing 4 on defense is also great. So opponent's archetype is called the Deep, which is a mechanic that cares about if there are 15 or fewer cards in your deck, and they are getting to that point. Getting close there. Would not be surprised if we see a, like a vengeance here. In fact, maybe I'm supposed to take this and put it here. They're actually just dead. Deal. Easy game. So Quarth, from a game theory perspective, I think it's actually the opposite. So I think more frequent card drops actually, I would bet, make it a little bit more challenging to balance the game, because the number of future environments they have to predict is more, right? Like, when they're balancing new card drops, they currently have to predict 6 card injections to the card pool per year, as opposed to less frequent, right? That being said, the frequency at which they balance things is probably not a big deal either way. I think I'm mulliganing everything but Cithra here. I think I'd rather have things that play to the board rather than these single combats can be useful later against the Scout's aggro deck, but I think I'd rather look for like 2s and 3s here. Sure, sweet.
I'll write my own story.
Fuck.
I won't back down.
Egghead generates a dragon for the lieutenant. Yeah, maybe Vayne. 6 is a lot of mana though.
What a specimen.
Yeah, correct, Violet. The fact that they are a digital card game and not a horse and buggy trying to keep up means that they have a lot more freedom to make small mistakes and then correct them.
Dragons, such fascinating creatures.
Hitting playable dragons with Egghead Researcher. These are my 1/3s. There are many like them, but these ones are mine. You're gonna burn a sharp sight to kill an Egghead Researcher? You do it! You burn that sharp sight. I guess they're technically killing 2 Egghead Researchers, but still, my point stands. Sure. Did each champion only play in a certain way or into a certain archetype? Depends on the champion and Tirac. So there's some champions that are more linear and only fit into specific things, and others that are more flexible.
Soldiers, to me! Ready weapon.
I think I just kill Valor here. Do I want a sharp sight to keep this alive? I might. Just keep my board presence. Nah, I think I want to use this to heal the dragon later. I think this is fine. I think if they open attacks and hit us to 12, that's not a big deal. If they don't open attacks, I get to dragon with Trick. Yeah, having single combat up or this is super valuable. Poker face, poker face, my. I mean, their archetype doesn't have a ton of traditional reach Lambton. It's not like I'm playing around like Decimates or stuff like that. Like, if they were on Decimates and things of that nature, I'd be a bit more concerned.
Still heart, steady aim.
In the name of our land!
If I do this, my dragon lives, right? Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. See that? I mean, like, even if they drop scouts onto the empty board, right? Like, this works out fine. Who's a champion that plays in a flexible way? Trundle's a champion that goes into a lot of different decks. This is a good example. He got a little bit of a nerf because he was overtuned, but he's still flexible while playing a lot of things. Twisted Fate goes into a lot of decks. It's a good one to pull out too. Yeah, there be dragons. If they pass, I'm gonna burn their mana. 100%. No, you're fine, Anthrax. If we didn't want questions, I'd just post YouTube videos. That's the great part about Twitch. Interact in real time. Fill out the survey. Thanks for taking the time to do that, Alfanda. I appreciate it. Hold on to this for now in case they have a sharp side of their own. Diana goes into a lot of decks with her package. Yeah, that's true. Feels like we're in a very good spot. This Vox is going to get to come down and start generating card advantage. Gives us a dragon every time something with Fury kills something. They've got a ton of interaction and tricks here, so this will help us go long, and we've got the board mostly in check here. Team open today deck. No. Yeah, Elise is another good flexible one. She goes into both aggressive decks and controlling decks.
For the glory of Demacia.
This is our provenance.
They missed on their allegiance there. Expeditions are things that I've thrown into the queue on occasion because I really like the limited format in this game, but it's not something that people usually donate to have happen hex. So a couple of times when the Runeterra queue's gotten kind of slim, I've thrown an expedition in, but generally speaking, if the queue's full of decks, we're gonna stick to constructed. Trucker X, yeah. Like I've talked about before in the past on stream, as long as this number stays above 1500 Runeterra, is gonna be my permanent content home here for a majority of what I'm making. And thanks for the prime. Thanks for keeping me around. Let's do at least one more with this. That's been sweet. For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. Thanks for hanging out this evening. I do Runeterra 5 to 6 days a week. I usually stream in the morning US time, but on patch days I like to do an evening stream because I don't like to stream in the morning right before the patch goes live. I like to get in fresh with the new cards. If you're someone that enjoys the vibe of the channel and the variety of constructed decks that I play, I usually play at least 2 different constructed decks every day, a lot of viewer submissions. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel as well. I highlight the best decks that we play on stream every single day there, as well as uploading full stream archives. The subscriber count definitely has not stabilized post Magic X exiting. I expect it'll probably continue to drop through the end of the month from that. I also think that there's a good chance that, like, as I do more Runeterra and I sit here doing more consistently, that there's some growth potential here in this game. But I do expect it to drop out a little bit. My plans in terms of communication are, if we do drop below 1500, I intend to give it through the end of the year, basically, to see if we can get it back up. But I think we'll probably stay above that. So my goal is to keep the raw number above 1500 Lambton, because the higher tier subs are for deck submissions. So my 1500 to have this be a full-time job assumes I'm taking in some amount of deck submissions. I think I'm just passing here.
Dragon blood, Demacian heart.
Nothing escapes my watch.
Break them.
I'm okay trading these here. No, I'm aware of it. I'm a Magic player. I'm a very data-driven person. I understand metrics. Another reason I sent out the sub survey too is there's already been a number of people that have commented on the sub survey that are like, yeah, I'm still just here for Magic and I'm gonna be bailing out soon. So getting that number to see what percentage that are still waiting to exit is also a good gauge as well. So what does this attack mean? This attack probably means we've got some number of Pale Cascades or something. I'm gonna block here, so they need 2 Pale Cascades to kill her. Nah, no way. Getting a block in here with Sharp Sight as a combat trick means she levels sooner, which is valuable. Like, if I didn't have a combat trick of my own, I think I'd wait. Oh, they're just getting in Wolf Rider. Okay, sure. They're getting plundering for this. So this actually means that I can level her pre-combat because I blocked now, which is sweet. So I can single combat this against something and then get her leveled in attack. Now they are playing Freljord, so like some Frostbites could be a concern. Evening, Young Thick. Thanks for dropping in tonight. And now I think I single combat in response here because I would like to have my next Shyvana be leveled. Sure.
Witness my true power.
How's the man? It's been very reasonable. I had low expectations and it's definitely exceeded them. Alright, so do I attack with both of these and then sharp sight this to punch through here? I think that's the play because it lets me hit them for 7.
Apart.
I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to predict the future with things. Yeah. What Quartz said too. Outside of like, if you look at Runeterra's metrics, like Runeterra as is being a very new game has very similar metrics to Magic the Gathering, which has literally existed for 2.5 decades. I also do not think it is a stretch to say the ceiling on Runeterra is infinitely higher in terms of what the content can be and make compared to the ceiling on Magic the Gathering. Riot's IP and how they're willing to manage their game are both make that true, I think. Alright, pretty sure we just open attacks here, right? They could have, like, harsh winds here, right? And even if they have that, like, Captain Pharaon's gonna end the game. I mean, Valorant's not really a fair comparison because Valorant's a shooter, but... Out of my way. Sure, but you're just talking about... I just said comparing their top streamers one-to-one, Avid. So, like, if so, like, you're taking the goalpost and throwing it down the lane, right? So you said, but Jeff, look at what Runeterra's top streamers are and what they get and how many of them there are. And I said, okay, compare that to the Magic's top streamers. So, like, that, yeah, like, you moved the goalpost. And just for reference, by the way, for mods that weren't here earlier, anybody that comes in the channel that's not currently subscribed to the channel and just says, hey, streamer, why not Magic? Why aren't you playing Magic anymore? Just ban them. There's someone that's not going to follow my content anymore anyways, and they're too lazy to use the commands, and there's update videos and tons of ways they can find that answer for themselves. I have zero tolerance for people that are going to be lazy and not follow anyways. I think we're just playing these out, huh?
I'll write my own story.
Napier, thank you for the 32 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. A ban feels a touch strong. Nah, I don't care. They're probably never going to watch again anyways. Why do I care if they're banned? It prevents them from coming back in here 3 months later and asking, why aren't you playing Magic again? Saves me headache in the future. It's also, like, trivially easy to unban someone that wanted to still watch anyways. Jack Fury 1524, thanks for the 7 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back.
I'm through waiting.
I think we're just treating these here.
Don't let them through.
They walked around.
No, not at 5 mana yet.
Forged in dragon.
Yeah, that's ain't a democracy. This is a dictatorship, and I'm the dick, chat. Yeah, that's also true. If they weren't subbed and we ever go back to Magic for whatever reason, you better believe it's gonna be in sub-only mode. That's why. What kind of non-card games have I enjoyed lately? I think if you asked me to pick my top 3 variety games that we've played, it's definitely Hellblade, Sinew Sacrifice, Horizon Zero Dawn, and then Transistor. We just finished up this morning with Stellar. I think we're just eating Ezreal here. They could have like a flash freeze, but that's fine. I'll get Takato eat this next turn still. better. I don't think I've ended early. We've had days where, like, I felt a little bit medium with our set of Runeterra, but never, like, this gameplay was so terrible I need to turn the stream off now. If they have another Mystic Shot, they could kill this next turn before we kill this. Ooh, I think I'd rather get her down than Kato here. Like, I mean, for reference, Avid, you're correct that category to category, Magic does better than Runeterra currently. I agree with that. That is a factually correct statement. And if you're someone that loves data and Twitch metrics like that, I've spent a ton of time looking at metrics of that type because of my job. There's a website called Twitch Tracker, as well as Sully Gnome, that put a bunch of Twitch metrics up in a way that's really consumable and easy to click through and look at. For people that aren't familiar with my background, I have a master's degree in mathematics. I'm a very analytical person outside of card games as well. I spent a lot of time looking at data related to my job. Another metric that's important to note too, like people talk about viewer count potential. Like, you'll notice when I talk about doing Runeterra as a job, I don't mention my viewer count, right? I mention this number here. And sub count, one of the things I've learned from looking at lots of Twitch data is that sub count and viewer count do not directly correlate. There are people with a lot more viewers than me who average less subscribers than I do per month. Like, for example, when I was still doing Magic full-time, I averaged more concurrent Twitch subscribers than Croaky's, even though he had 2.5 to 3 times my viewership a lot of the time. I think we're dead here at this point. This is going to run us out of the game. Our challengers just weren't able to get there, unfortunately.
What time is it?
Yeah, and again, Avid Magic Player, I agree with you. What you're saying, press pick on that. What you're saying is correct. You're just discussing a different point than you originally brought up. You moved the goalpost. That's also not true, Evan. And I'm gonna give you a 10-minute break for that one, because a lot of the people that stream aren't MPL players, and in fact, when they required the MPL to stream, so many of them had such poor viewership they didn't require them to do that again because it just didn't work. You're right that a couple of large Magic streamers happen to be MPL, but a majority of the big ones are not. So keep the details. The devil is in the details. The details matter. That's definitely true, Niv. Channels with higher chat interaction have more of a community feel, and you're more inclined to support people that you have a community feel. Thoughts on this? I think my assessment at the start of the set that Katarina probably isn't a playable card likely hold true. The big problem with her as a card is the fact that she doesn't allow you to advance your board when you're playing her out is a big deal, especially in an aggressive deck like this that largely wants to play to the board. Her rallies were useful at different points throughout that set, but I don't think the points where they were useful make up for the points where she was awkward. And I split to one Garen at the end, and I think if we're looking for more rallies, Garen is probably the better way to do that. Garen leveling up when he strikes synergizes with the fight spells that we're playing anyways, and he's a big chunky body that adds to our board really elegantly, and occasionally having Garen's Judgment as his champion spell is like super, super useful. That being said, once you're like off of Katarina, the question becomes like, is splashing into Noxious for like these couple of other cards worthwhile? It's probably not, right? You're probably looking at either Mono Demacia or a different second region splash. And I think that's probably worth exploring. Yeah, probably Iona or Targon or even Shadow Isles for some kind of big finish like Harrowing sounds good. Oh, I clicked the ban button. Can a mod fix that ban to a timeout there? To the person that I just intended a timeout and misclicked, I don't like this deck, no offense. One, if you feel the need to put no offense on your statement, just don't open your mouth and say it, because that means you know it's offensive. It's like saying I'm not racist, but incredibly racist statement. It's fine to critique a deck like I just did, like the wrap up there I just gave, talking about why Katarina felt bad and then the details and things we could change or do different. Like, that's a good example of how to give a critique. Just saying deck's bad is lazy and clutters the chat. It doesn't contribute anything. People built these decks and want constructive feedback, and you just walking into a Twitch chat and dropping your pants and taking a crap on something that someone else has worked on with no constructive nature around it isn't helpful, and it doesn't need to be in my chat. If you want to just crap on decks that people are playing, go open a different channel. I'm sure there's plenty of people that'll tolerate that. Be constructive, be specific. Make your communications in chat productive. All right. What are we doing? We are going to shift gears here. I try to play at least 2 different constructed decks every single session.